All right, Ranger buddies, welcome to another Transition Tuesday webinar. This webinar is meant for you and your families. We've got a great guest today, Tony Smith from the Wounded Warrior Project. He's a regional director of the Warriors to Work program at Wounded Warrior Project. Tony, I want to kind of start off fast here. Tell me what the Warriors to Work project is and why our folks should care.
The Warriors to Work Project itself, the organization, is an organization that serves post 9/11 veterans, injured, ill, or wounded, along with their family support members. We've been around for 25 years now, serving all over the country. We provide over 18 different programs, everything from mental health, physical health and wellness, to Project Odyssey, to our alumni program, which handles all of our registrations. And then, of course, one of the programs, Warriors to Work.
Well, let's talk about Warriors to Work, especially where that fits in a transition specifically for our Rangers.
Warriors to Work is basically everything employment. And the first thing, I travel a lot, spend a lot of time on installations. First thing I tell separating retiring veterans is you need to start early. You can't wait. You need to start, 12 to 18 months out before separation. And when I mean everything employment, it's everything from interview preparation to resume writing assistance, both federal and civilian. We provide training and resources, military skills translation, networking, job leads, interview preparation, salary negotiations, and post-employment counseling. And the thing about Warriors to Work, it's only one of a handful of our programs at the Wounded Warrior Project that everything we do for the veteran, or we call the warrior, we do for family support members 18 years of age and older. So if you're a veteran, you have a son or daughter that just graduated college or graduated high school and they're looking for employment assistance, they can come to us as long as they're registered. You have a spouse that's going back to work, it's in a job where she's trying to get promoted, needs assistance with resume updating, maybe some interview preparation. We do the same thing for them. So everything that we do for the veteran, we do for the family support member. That includes a lot of our training programs and a lot of like our Deloitte employment boot camps that we offer around the country. So that's what I love most about our program is that I'm married, 23 Army veteran. My spouse has been with me the entire time, knowing that we have the ability and capabilities to help those family support members that are also in need.
So I want to go back to your core services with Warriors to Work, Tony. And I think what separates Wounded Warrior Project here is it's just not a transition program, right? Like any of these things needed by signing up and becoming an alumni.
No.
How many caregivers is it again that a individual can have? Is it up to 5, I believe?
Up to 4.
Up to 4. So 5 for including for the family. Okay.
Right. And our definition of a caregiver or family support member doesn't mean it's a spouse or a child. It could be a mother, a father, a grandfather. It could be a battle buddy. It could be your neighbor, someone that, that you interact with or engage with weekly, that, that they're there to support you. So that's another thing about our organization I love. It doesn't have to be just someone who lives in the household. It could be, like I said, a battle buddy, mother, a father, a grandparent, just a friend.
Well, we really are trying to reach more spouses, and we find that in the transition sector, we get them not when it's most advantageous, which is when they're young in their military career, but when they're transitioning as well, or at least leaving locations.
Right.
like their service members. So let's just go back quickly with Wounded Warrior Project. When can someone sign up for services? Because some folks, because of the name, may not identify or think it's Wounded Warrior, but really Wounded Warrior Project is the largest post 9/11 focused veteran support organization.
Right. You could have a 0 disability rating or higher and register with us. Ideally, for the Warriors to Work program, minimum a year out. You reach out to our resource center and register with us so we can start assisting you in that transition from military life to civilian life. But usually it's a year for most programs. Some programs like you to be a little bit closer to 6 months. That would be like our alumni team, our Odyssey team, our physical health and wellness team. But when we're talking about Warriors to Work, that sweet spot is a year.
Right. And I think part of that one is just the planning time to prep to make sure that the skills align. We get that purpose, passion. But tell me about how you align our transition fellowships. We're blessed in the 75th Ranger Regiment to have a very supportive leadership for the Army CSP, DoD Skill Bridge, SOCOM Care Coalition. Who do you partner with and work to ensure that that's covered?
Well, we have our own program called Transition Ready, in which we are reaching out and working on a lot of installations, and we do quarterly briefs at those. We're at Addison Air Force Base, Joint Base JBSA, JBLM. We're at JBER in Alaska. Quite a few installations on the East Coast. So we bridge that gap by doing those presentations on installations, to reach the separating or the transitioning service members. But not everyone has what your organization has for those separating and retiring, veterans.
Well, it is a blessing, and our alignment. What started with ensuring that everyone had the ability and did take advantage of the benefits delivered at discharge process has blossomed more into this relationship with Wounded Warrior Project to ensure that we're utilizing all the programs that are appropriate to us. So could you share with us how you got involved with Wounded Warrior Project? And after 22 years of service, what was it about this line of work that really won you over?
After 23 years of service, I retired as a first sergeant. And my last 13 years was in USREC, so Army recruiting. So when I originally retired, I went to a Fortune 500 organization here in Phoenix. They were looking for someone to come into their human resources and stand up their military and veteran recruiting department. So I did that for about my first 8 years. And then I had another organization that reached out to me for the same type of job. So then I went to that Fortune 500 company. And while at that organization, they were a huge sponsor of the Wounded Warrior Project, huge partner, whether it be storage, whatever they could offer veterans, they were there. Plus, of course, the donations. And that allowed me to do a lot of work with the Wounded Warrior Project, watch their soldier rides, host events in the Phoenix area with them and for them. And then when the opportunity came up for a role in almost staffing, the Warriors to Work program, it is a lot like recruiting. I knew it was time for me to give back. I had, almost 14 years of really great opportunities to work with Fortune 500 companies, but I decided that now it was time for me to give back in a different way. I wasn't able to touch veterans as much as I wanted to in those Fortune 500 companies. I mean, they had great, one-on-one to hire, one-on-one, their staffing level to be 14% of all their employees across the country in Canada were veterans. But I still didn't have the opportunity to really touch them like I wanted to and assist them like I wanted to and give back. So the opportunity opened up for me to come to the Wounded Warrior Project, the Warriors to Work program, and I've been here for about 6.5 years.
So tell me, if I apply for Wounded Warrior Project and I'm looking for employment, and let's say I'm a traditional service member who is transitioning, what does that intake look like? Is there a trade assessment? Are you asking me what I want to do? Do I have a one-on-one counselor? Do I do group counseling sessions? What would that look like?
Yeah, once you're registered with us, a referral comes to our program. And then that referral is screened by our coordinators and then assigned to a career coach. Ideally, if you're in Nashville, we have career coaches in Nashville. Ideally, we're going to assign you to that one of those career coaches. If you're in Idaho or you're in Mississippi or Alabama, we're going to assign you to the nearest career coach. And what happens is that career coach reaches out and sets up what we call an initial discovery call, and that's really an informational call. That's really to find out about you as an individual, what your goals are, your objectives are. And we have a lot of veterans that come to us after registered. Some say, I just need help with a resume. So that's a service we provide. Some come to us saying, I got a big interview coming up. I just need some interview preparation. And some of us come to us for everything that you showed on that list previously. the whole gambit. So once that discovery call is done with the career coach, then the career coach sets goals with the warrior. Weekly calls, biweekly follow-ups, until employment. And we understand that it may be a bridge job, a bridge position. So once that bridge position is obtained, we don't leave the warrior. We have 30, 60, 90, 180, 360-day follow-ups with the warrior, and we're continually helping that warrior get to that dream job. That's another thing I love about our program. We never really lose track of those that we assist, because of our program and the requirements that we have. We've had some warriors that there's been warriors that I worked with when I first came on as a senior career coach that are still working with some of our career coaches, over 5 years, still trying to get to that goal of Deloitte or IBM or CSX. And then we have those that we helped and have found their career job and are doing great and really enjoying what they're doing and are now in positions where they are now helping and giving back and hiring warriors within their organization.
That's fantastic. And I love, one of my favorite questions when I have someone in my office is, what are the first 3 jobs when you get out? Paradigm shift from,
right.
Well, it's not just about that first job. Like it's definitely a career journey along the way. So to recap, we're saying we want to start about at least a year out.
Yes.
And start working to identify those type of industries that they're interested in, so that we build the resume and do the interview prep for those. Could you talk to me about, does Wounded Warrior Project Warriors to Work, do they introduce warriors to businesses as well? Or is that mostly on the warrior side?
It's 50-50. We have some great partners that we work with, but it's not always in the field, the warriors are looking into. Some of our great partners, CSX, Johnson & Johnson, Deloitte, we work close to IBM, Amazon. So there's some really, really popular ones out there we work with. But, if someone is trying to get in the FBI or local law enforcement or things like that, we just don't have the ability to get down to that level for those connections. So it's 50-50. But I will say this, our career coaches, if a warrior says, I really want to go to work for such and such company, our career coaches take the initiative to research that company. On LinkedIn, can I find somebody who works at that company? Is there someone within HR that I may be able to connect with as a former HR person in order to try to find an in for that warrior into that organization? Or even just the ability to set up maybe an informational call with somebody from that company with the warrior.
Tony, there's really a couple of things that I heard there. One is an old adage that I'll tell my folks, which is, if somebody's helping you, find out who's also helping them, because they are very interested in the success. I mean, at the end of the day, if you go to Warriors to Work, what you're saying is, I care a little bit extra maybe than a service member who might be doing the minimum with TAP. Not that you're any better, but you're showing that extra effort. That might really interest companies. And then the second part is, build your team. Build your team. Like you have the ability to get a coach for free to help you. What type of person turns that down?
Right. And I like the word you just said, free. All the services we offer, no matter what program it is, all of our services are free to our warriors and family support members. No one is charged a single dime for any service that they receive from the Wounded Warrior Project organization.
And y'all, you'd mentioned before, and I just want to toot the horn of Wounded Warrior at large. You use a very robust CRM to track that y'all are on point with keeping the guidelines that you mentioned before, those time gates of connecting. And I think, sometimes there's that worry, if I go to a big organization, I'll be lost. But I think what y'all have invested in data to ensure that everybody is on top of, and directors like you can see where your career counselors, their caseloads and who they're managing is just unreal.
Yeah. And it's not just our program. I don't think there's a program in our organization that does not have.
So I wanted to give you that opportunity. Go ahead, Tony. I think we lost connection there for a
Yeah,
second.
no, and I don't think there's a program within our organization that doesn't have those milestones like Warriors to Work has. There's always follow up. There's always uh, follow up to that goal that has been set between the warrior and the career coaches, no matter what the program is.
And Tony, we're not going to lie, you're not on here because your program isn't great, right? This is once again just that redundancy for specifically for our folks to hear that if you use it, it will work. And for those spouses and caregivers, but specifically, we care about ensuring that the spouses feel involved and are part of the process. What a better way than to go through Warriors to Work as you transition with your spouse.
I totally agree, 100%.
All right. So I did want to take a moment, and you mentioned it in the beginning, just to go over Wounded Warrior Project. My goodness, the largest post 9/11 veteran service organization. Some would say the best regardless of era in terms of performance. And we are so happy at Three Rangers Foundation to be partnered. And like you said, the veterans, the service members, and the families. And then would you just go over, Tony, to close kind of like that, those three distinct ways that y'all serve?
Yeah, the way we fulfill our mission is we provide direct program and services to warriors and their family support members, and that's what we've been talking about the entire call here. Is the session is the services we provide directly to warriors and their family support members. We advocate. We have just a team specifically to advocate in Washington D.C. In our D.C. office. Pretty good sized team, and they are on the Hill weekly. Advocating for veterans. And then we collaborate. And that's another great thing about our organization. Collaboration is huge for us because we only offer 18 programs, but we know there are veterans out there that may be looking for training for a service dog. We don't do that specifically, but we work with over 500 other VSOs across the country. And we know VSO A, B, and C will provide those services to the warrior. And our resource center can refer the warrior out to those. Entrepreneurship is really getting big. We're starting getting entrepreneurship now with IVM, Rosie Network, but it's not something we've been in for a while. But if a warrior wants to open their own business, we have the ability to send them to other VSOs and organizations that specifically help veterans with veteran service-owned businesses. So if we don't have it, we have the resources that do have it with other VSOs.
That's what I love is that y'all will find the solution. Like once there's the need, and you're not so selfish to say, well, if we can't do it, we can't partner. It's like, no, you partner with the reputable organizations to get the job done for the veteran. And we've seen that time and time again. And so once again, we want to see you go into Wounded Warrior Project and sign it up. Every Ranger is going to be told that it is in your best interest to ensure that you sign up for Wounded Warrior Project for VA claim. But that is really at a minimum. Take a look at the 18 total programs. Know that you're not alone. The great thing about Wounded Warrior Project, where it fits into Ranger for Life, is when you move away and you don't have your Ranger buddies near and around, you have an organization with some butt behind it that can provide you support. But also when you come into contact with veterans who maybe didn't get the same support that you received as a Ranger, you can refer them as well. And that's really the Ranger for Life piece of Wounded Warrior Project. Tony, I would thank you so much for coming on today, taking your time. Much appreciated. Thank you what you do for continue to serve active duty veterans and families. Just fantastic.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be able to participate in this. And again, don't wait. 12 months out should be minimum, especially with Warriors to Work. And then of course, family support members. We serve them also. So
We appreciate you, Tony. You have a great rest of your day. And for our Rangers out there, take advantage of Wounded Warrior Project. If you have any questions, you just let us know in the chat. Take care and have a great evening.
Thank you.